أهلا وسهلا كل الناس. أنا اسمي لورا. هناك قناتي في يوتيوب لغة مع لورا، واليوم أريد أن أتكلم الدراما التركية. Hello everyone, my name is Laura. This is my channel Languages with Laura, and in today's video I want to talk about Turkish dramas. Why do I want to talk about Turkish dramas, right? Okay, well, I don't really want to talk about Turkish dramas. I don't speak Turkish, right? If you've seen a couple of my videos, you know I don't speak Turkish. So why is the topic of today Turkish dramas? Well, because there is something that I really want to do this summer. I'll let you guess what it is. If you haven't seen my updated goals for this year video, I would highly recommend watching that for a little more context for this. But because I will be learning Uyghur language this fall, I want to kind of prepare myself. So basically, Uyghur is a Turkic language because they are a Turkic people group. And so it's a separate language, but it has a lot in common with Turkish. And because of that, I thought, what would be a better way to prepare for learning this language than watching some Turkish dramas? Because, like I said, I will be learning it in school. So I don't necessarily need or want to start learning it earlier than that. I don't have any resources or anything like that. And I'm gonna start at the very beginning this fall. But I thought that if I just casually watch some Turkish dramas, it'll help me kind of get a feel, because there are some similarities with Uyghur and Turkish. Probably some pronunciation, maybe some grammar, sentence structure, maybe a few vocab words. Hopefully listening to Turkish will help me kind of start thinking about what Uyghur will be. And I mean, Uyghur I've heard is very similar to Uzbek, which is very interesting. And I've heard it said by somebody who does not speak Uyghur but speaks Kyrgyz, that Turkish to him sounds very soft. And then as you go up to Uzbek and then Kyrgyz and Uyghur, it gets harsher and sharper the further east you travel. So I thought that would be very interesting. And I know like 2 words in Kyrgyz. I know like salam, jok bazar, and rahmat, which rahmat is thank you in Kyrgyz. And I think it's rahmat is also thank you in Uyghur. I'm not sure, but that is my hunch. But because of that, because I can equate things that are similar, I thought, let's spend a little bit just watching Turkish dramas just to get me thinking about pronunciation and sentence structure, so that when I actually start learning Uyghur in the fall, I will be ready to go and excited. And yeah, so I'm not trying to learn any Turkish, although I do know that thank you in Turkish is teşekkürler instead of rahmat, which is very interesting. But anyway, I digress. I'm not trying to learn Turkish. I just thought it would be fun to get hooked on a Turkish drama, to just listen to it, get familiar with it, and then we'll see what happens in the fall, right? Okay, I feel like that was a very long-winded explanation for just what can be summed up in a sentence of, because Uyghur is a Turkic language, I want to watch some Turkish dramas to prepare me to learn Uyghur in the fall. Yeah, that's all it needs to be. So let's hop on probably Netflix and see what Turkish dramas I can get my hands on, watch the first episode of a couple, and then see if I like any of them. So Okay, friends, basically how this is gonna work is that I'm gonna watch an episode, like 1 to 2 episodes of just a couple of shows, just to see which ones I like. And if I end up watching the first episode of 2 or 3 and I don't like them, I'll probably try and continue and watch more. But I hope that I like at least one of the first couple that I try, just so that I don't have to search around, find a bunch of shows, and then have them on my continue watching and whatnot. Just gonna start off very chill, try a first episode. If it's a 20-minute episode, maybe the first 2 kind of thing. So الآن عندي قهوة ويلا. We're gonna start off with this one. عندي قطتي. I'm starting with this show because I reached out to Elise from Elise Speaks because I know that she learns Turkish and that she has watched Turkish TV shows, and I asked her which one she would recommend, and she said this one, and perfect that it's on Netflix where I live. So I figured I'd get started with one that is a recommendation before just choosing a random one off of the list of Turkish TV shows on Netflix. So let's see how I like it. Thank you, Elise. So I just finished watching the first episode of the first show. It translates to, I think, Love 101, and I'm really enjoying it. I think so far it reminds me a lot of Al Rawabi School for Girls, which is a show in Jordan, I believe, and it's in Arabic, and so it has a similar like kind of feel to that, of these kids in high school, in school, causing pranks or mischief and things like that. And so I really enjoy it. Hi. I think it's definitely one that I'll probably keep watching this summer. It's also a really good candidate for this summer, just because it is 2 seasons long and each season is only 8 episodes, so I can fly through that fairly quickly, which is awesome. But yeah, this show in particular is about this group of kids who individually cause a ton of trouble. Like, they're a pain on all of the teachers, and they're about to get expelled, except for one teacher stands up for them, and then it turns out that teacher is going to get transferred, so they have to find a way to prevent that teacher from getting transferred so that they don't get expelled and they can actually graduate. So I really enjoyed it, and yeah, I think it's gonna be one that I like. I have to say though, there's one goody two shoes character in there, and I love her so much, just because like she is the girl who, when she reads a book, she uses pressed flowers as her bookmark. And I've read a lot of books, I've used a lot of things as bookmarks, but I've never used pressed flowers, and I love that idea. It just seems so cute. So that was the first show that I watched. Now I have put some other shows on my list to give a try. I'll probably try 1 or 2 more shows, but just because I already found one that I really like, which is pretty cool. So let's look. So I'm looking at what show to watch next, right? And because I have one that's like modern drama, I wanted something a little more fantasy because I also love watching fantasy things. And there were 2 shows that I found on Netflix that I thought could be really good. The titles are translated into English because my Netflix is in English and I'm not switching it to Turkish. That's not happening. And so one is called The Protector, and that's like an action fantasy. The description says, in this action fantasy, a man discovers his ties to an ancient order and embarks on a treacherous quest that soon takes him back to Ottoman Istanbul. And I thought that sounded really interesting. But then there's this other one called The Gift. Here, I'm gonna turn you around and keep talking for a hot second. So that's The Protector, and then this is The Gift. And so this one, The Gift, is called The Contemporary Painter Unveils the Mysteries Behind Her Mythical Lineage in an ancient archaeological site in this drama unfolding in parallel worlds. And so I asked my dad which one I should watch because he and I have very similar tastes when it comes to like fantasy and action and things like that. And I wish I had caught what he said on camera because it was so funny, because I have not told them at all that I'm like doing this video and watching Turkish dramas to understand the language, but I did tell him immediately the reason I'm not watching these with him is because they're in Turkish and he would not like reading subtitles. And so I told him the description. He goes, yeah, well, you know, I'd probably go for the Protector because I'm more of an action kind of guy, but since you're probably doing this for like language and to actually learn things, you should go for the Gift because it sounds like there's more opportunity to learn more than just the language. And I just went, that is so cool, because I mean both these shows have fantasy, so it's very much like it's not fully like, yeah, I'm gonna learn a ton, but like maybe it'll spark something for me to research and then learn, which would also be very fun. But just he knows me so well, and it was just really funny and really precious to have my dad be like, well, you like to learn things, which is great because neither of my parents like learn languages. I don't get this passion from my parents specifically, so it was just really fun to hear that come from him. So I am going to watch the first episode of The Gift, and if I like it, then I might honestly just stop at these two shows because I would be set. And The Gift has 3 seasons. I don't know how long the seasons are, but that's what we're going to do next, and hopefully I just immediately find 2 shows that I like. And then if you like this kind of video and I finish the shows pretty early, maybe I can do another video, like a part 2 of other shows on Netflix. So, and if you have Netflix but it's not like the same Netflix as mine, you can't find these shows, then you can always just get, sorry, it's super shaky, you can always just get a VPN and place your location. And there are some VPNs that are for free, or you can do like a free trial of. Not sponsored, just saying that's something you can do. So let's start The Gift. So I just finished the first episode of the show of The Gift, and I really love that show. I think it's probably my preferred of the 2. The other one I'll probably just like binge over like a couple of days because it is short and I would just want to get through the plot as opposed to like really enjoying the characters or kind of enjoying episode by episode. But this one I'm going to enjoy a lot more. It is just much more down my alley of the TV I prefer to watch personally. Like, because it plays with time, like my dad said, there's going to be so many little things that interest me that I'm going to want to like Google and research and learn a little bit more about, which is really cool. But now that I've watched the first episodes, I am really at the beginning of watching a TV show for a language I don't know. The best thing to just focus on first is just kind of listening and taking it all in, largely with just sounds as opposed to trying to figure out words or sentence structures. Of course, there are going to be a couple of words that I recognize, like tamam. It's the same in Arabic of being like, okay, tamam, all right, you know, and things like that. Or like I've noticed when characters introduce themselves, then it's like Mr. Name. In Turkish, it would be like name biz, or like the title comes after, which is pretty cool. But things like that I'm not really going to pick up on because it's mostly just about learning the sounds and understanding pronunciation things, which going forward I want to watch this on my computer with headphones, because while it's fun to just like watch it in the living room and have a bigger screen, really I should have headphones in to have it really close to my ear so I can hear a lot more as opposed to across the room. So basically, as I go through and watch this, it's going to be on my computer so I can really pick up the sounds and probably start shadowing and repeating what they're saying, even if I don't know exactly what word means what or the sentence structure quite yet. That'll come later in the episode as I get more familiar with the language itself, but for now it is just sound to pronunciation, which is really all I think is going to be valuable for me for learning Uyghur in the fall, is sounds and pronunciation and very loose structure, because I'm not learning Turkish. I am learning a different language that has been influenced by other things and has evolved slightly differently. So this is not going to make me come into my Uyghur class and be able to just bypass a lot of stuff, like, I already know it. That's not gonna happen. I'm just hoping that I'm gonna have an easier time pronouncing certain sounds that might be in the Uyghur language. Like, for example, kind of things, it sounds like they're saying an umlaut almost, like, but even a little more throaty and even a little further back, which is a sound that I'll have to practice, because even though I understand the concept of an umlaut, I'm still not super comfortable with that sound yet in my mouth and in my throat. And so to have a deeper version of it, and especially with like a qz, like that kind of sound, qz, like almost way back in the throat. Again, it's something kind of similar to what there is in Arabic with a lot more of the throaty sounds, but it's not the exact same. So there are definitely sounds that I could probably practice that will be helpful learning Uyghur this fall. So, and that's the whole point of me watching these Turkish TV shows. If you like content like this, I can make another video kind of at the end of the summer after I finished a couple of series and just recap what I've learned, what I've enjoyed, and even at the beginning of the fall semester, I can do like a video of how it actually helped me, or maybe didn't even help me at all, and this is just something to keep in mind if you want to start learning a new language and you want to do it through TV or media. How to learn through TV and media in the beginning stages, because I think really just consuming is going to be one of the best ways to get started, just to get familiar, but do it in a less stressful way than trying to test yourself or anything like that. Teşekkürler, rahmet. Thank you all for watching. I have other social media linked down below, and if you like language learning videos like this, make sure you subscribe and comment down below if you have watched any Turkish TV shows, if you have any recommendations for me, or if you have any experiences and tips that you have, like doing a double subtitle where you have subtitles in the target language as well as subtitles in your native language. I know there are apps, programs, websites that can do that. I just don't have those because I'm not going to pay money for them, and especially not with a language that I'm not actively trying to learn. But things like that exist, so like put that all in the comments below, and if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. Again, rahmet, teşekkürler. Thank you all very much, and until I see you in the next video, ma salama.